nasty drink he has.
Yep. Either way, we're live anyway.
Yeah.
But welcome, or hello. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion.
Amazing
Before we get
professional
started,
intro as always.
Before we get started, let me first remind you that we have no idea what we're doing, but we are covered by the BIPCOT No Government License, which allows for the use and reuse of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is BIPCOT.org. We're also covered by Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969, which ruled that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is, quote, directed to or inciting imminent lawless action or is likely to incite or produce such action. I think I read that right.
Yeah, I think so.
Either way, it's Minecraft. It's all Minecraft, right?
Yeah.
Hypothetical. Everything we say is hypothetical. That's what I was supposed to say.
Yeah,
Something like that.
It's all in the famous book Minecraft.
Yes. not to be confused with the other book.
Yeah, not the same as the other book at all.
No. There is no page 14 in the Minecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is episode 178. And we're going to talk about things and shit and have fun and have a laugh. And
we're going to talk about stuff
that
is possibly interesting.
It's probably not interesting to anybody, but
stuff.
I mean,
our pre-live chat is probably better than anything we'll talk about tonight.
I know we really need to do like a Patreon, and like one of the things you get is like access to our pre-broadcast chats at like some tier where you can like listen to us just talk.
We just need to go live as soon as everybody's here, and then at some point in the conversation, I'll just start the thing. That way people get that. That way people get that early 10 minutes.
Yeah,
or 5 minutes or whatever it is.
I mean, nobody wants to hear that. Maybe somebody does. I don't know. I got hit up the other day on Instagram because somehow I still have an Instagram, and somebody was like, "Oh yeah, I just listened to a bunch of the episodes. I'm up to like episode 120," and I'm like, "Why?" It's like, yeah.
Why do you hate yourself that much?
Yeah, like, man, that's
before I even got on the show, and I'm friends with you guys. I listened to maybe like a dozen episodes, watched and listened. That's about it.
I have never listened to an episode that I recorded. Because one, I hate my voice.
Yeah,
and two, listening back on it, it's not as entertaining. Like it's entertaining in the moment.
Yeah.
But it's not as entertaining post facto.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've listened to them because I've been around people who were listening to them.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so I just caught, and like every time I heard myself talk, it's just like so cringy. I'm like, oh God, I don't want to hear that.
And the worst part is
that asshole.
the worst part is you'll hear yourself say something and you'll immediately think of 7 things that you could have said that were better or smarter or a better way to say it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, hey, no, that's interesting, but I could have said, and like, you just want to like pause it on them and be like, actually, and since we're talking about that.
Yep. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, I'm a real gas at parties, man. I'll tell you. Like, that scene in Bedazzled where like he wishes to like know everything about everything, and he's at the party talking about gin. And like how he's like, a lot of people think that it's because it's from outside the French city of Genevois. However, it's actually like named after juniper, which is funny because I think everybody thinks that it's named after juniper, which is correct. But like he does that. Like that's me at parties, man. Like I just go and like talk, and like sometimes there are people standing there listening, and sometimes I'm just talking on my own in the corner like a complete fucking psychopath.
I'm in the corner with the cat or the dog.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If there's a dog, like you're not going to interact with
Yeah,
it. There's no
no.
human beings are going to get to interact. There's a dog.
No, there's dog.
Sitting there mumbling to your stapler. Burn this place down.
Yeah, I could ruin this place. I could put strychnine in the guacamole.
I did almost buy the red stapler patch.
Nice. I really need one, man. I need one bad. I actually had one.
I got this one.
CenturyLink. I had a red stapler.
I got this one, the new one from Violent Little Machine Shop.
Nice. Not endorsed by the U.S. government. Very nice. Yeah. I thought about wearing my not legal in California or my not legal in New York ones. I really gotta wear them to a range day again, so I can, because they always get chuckles when people see like just standing there with an AK in my hand. And
new old ones from Poppin' Patches. The fuck around can.
Oh, yeah. I love the Twisted Tea one. That's such a good one. And then when Control Pew, when they did the their rocket propelled can delivery system, the thing that they used for the can was a can of Twisted Tea. It was fucking glorious.
Yeah, Twisted Tea is always a good one. Let's just let's run with Twisted Tea. I don't know how this applies.
What? Do we have one that we can segue into from that? I don't.
Hunter Biden.
Oh yeah, I mean Twisted. Yeah.
Not just that. The password that Hunter Biden reportedly used for his laptop. Did you guys see this yet?
Yeah, the fact that it didn't involve not just a 69, but like 42069, would have been
if it was like 42069, that would have been hilarious. But we'll get into that. So Hunter Biden used a profoundly profane password to protect one of his laptop computers, according to the repairman at the center of the scandal over the first son's emails. In American Justice, My Battle to Expose the Truth, John Paul Mac Isaac, God, that's a $73 name. John Paul Mac Isaac. No, not Mick Isaac. Mac, M-A-C space Isaac.
Yeah, it's Mick Isaac. Son of Isaac.
Yeah, John Paul Mac Isaac details the day in April 2019 when Biden, reeking of booze, allegedly stumbled into his Wellington, Delaware shop shortly before closing time.
Whoever Biden would suspect Hunter Biden of smelling like booze? I for one, am shocked.
Biden carried 3 MacBook Pro computers and said, quote, "I need the data recovered off these, but they all have liquid damage and won't turn on."
Maybe you, I don't know, spilled fucking drinks on them?
Yeah. One, a 15-inch model was a complete write-off, but another was in, quote, slightly better shape, although the keyboard was unresponsive. Max said, quote, "I pulled out the external keyboard and asked for permission to log in." Hunter started laughing. Quote, "My password is fucked up. Don't be offended," he said. Biden then reportedly revealed that his password was analfuck69. One word, ANALFUCK 69.
I mean, in the interest of fairness, that would be pretty hard for somebody to guess.
Yeah. Isaac said, "It only took a few files before I noticed pornography appearing in the right column."
What a shock.
This is a vocational hazard. I've gotten rather used to it and give it no mind. I was a little amazed by the sheer quantity, though, and the boldness of leaving porn files on one's desktop.
On the desktop. Wow. Yeah,
on the desktop. Not like in a hidden file inside another file. On the desktop.
I'm a pretty degenerate individual, but even I have a little sense of decorum, sir. I'm at least gonna kind of half-ass hide it. Well,
right.
Yes. Mac Isaac also wrote that he found a January 16, 2017 email that listed taxable income and annual amounts that reached $2,478,000 in 2015.
How is he making $2 million?
Quote, I was blown away. All that money and this asshole couldn't spring for a backup drive.
Oh my god, it's true. Like, what
Oh.
really? Dude, I have backup drives and I'm broke as shit.
They're not expensive.
They're not. I hold on here somewhere. I got a thumb drive that's like a 1 terabyte thumb drive.
Yes.
That works just peachy to back things up to.
Yeah, then it goes into the whole history of the laptop, and I don't really care about all that, but I just wanted to say anal fuck 69 on the podcast. In a legitimate manner, not just like in a we're talking dirty manner.
Yeah, that's
Think we'd get in trouble if we made that the title of the episode?
Yeah, I think that Spotify wouldn't let us. I know YouTube's gonna have a thing or two to say about it.
We're still live, so we're still good on YouTube.
Well, I mean, yeah, we've already named this episode at this point.
No, I have not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I couldn't think of a good one. So.
That's what we should call it. Just couldn't think of a good name.
Yeah.
Have we used that yet?
I've labeled one. Jason is really bad at naming episodes, and I think there's another one that's insert clever title here or something like that.
Yeah, I think this one should just be. We can't come up with a good one.
I almost called it Trespassing Cat.
I think it should be rest in peace. What's the name of the cat? What was the name of the cat?
Misha.
Rest in peace, Misha is what it should be.
Yeah.
Miska. Miska. Miska.
All right, you want to start that one?
Miska.
Let's get into that.
Musketeers.
Segued.
Yeah. So we talked about this. I believe it had to be like in the 80s or 90s when we talked about this before. So this is an update, and it will give some history in this article. But we've talked about it before. This is now an update.
Yeah, he's talking about episode number, people, not the year. We haven't been doing this long. I've been doing it since I was 2. I don't know. I was very advanced for my age.
Some of us are that
Diaper,
old.
cigar, whiskey,
Yeah, same exact thing. It was the same exact thing. It was cigar, glass of scotch.
Yep. Texting Lindsay to bring him a new bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's 2 years younger than me, so that was interesting.
Muting the mic so you play with the rattle for a second.
Yeah. I still have to do that. What are you talking about? It's a maraca.
It's a rattle.
Yeah. So we did talk about it though.
I believe we talked about it when the lawsuit was initially launched.
Yeah. And didn't we mention at the time that something was going to happen to the cat?
I think we joked about it. Yeah.
That they were definitely going to do something to the cat because it was clearly a threat to the state. It's an enemy of the state.
I think we half joked about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that was actually prescient.
Yeah. So the cat was not authorized by the U.S. government.
Yeah. I mean, she got money out of it.
Well, I mean, okay. We just get into the article.
Yeah.
So a woman and her trespassing cat get $125,000 settlement in lengthy Washington legal battle. A woman received $125,000 settlement after her tabby cat was accused of trespassing in a Washington neighborhood. Anna Daniele filed a lawsuit following more than 30, quote, notices of violations that cost her over $30,000 in fines from 2014 to 2019, according to her complaint. Many of the violations accused her cat, Miska, of trespassing in their Bellevue neighborhood, taunting other animals, being, quote, at large, and violating limitations that were later set by the head of animal control.
How you're gonna limit a fucking cat? Are you serious?
The lawsuit listed the defendants are King County, City of Bellevue, King County Hearing Examiner, Regional Animal Services of King County, Gene Edward Mueller, Tom Anderson, and 10 unnamed individuals. According to the defendants, did not immediately respond to McCarthy's news request for comment. Okay, Mueller, who could enforce animal control violations as manager of the Regional Animal Services of King County, lived 2 blocks away from Danelli and Miska. He is accused of filing complaints against the cat as their neighbor. At the time, he was also an investigating officer on 2 matters involving the house cat.
I just
This is a house cat.
They had so like the cat's a fucking serial killer. It has its own like nemesis in law enforcement who's like, oh, next time. Like the cat's gonna be making taunting phone calls on Christmas Eve to him and shit.
This is like a cartoon or something.
The cat's leaving bird heads underneath blankets.
Yeah, like he answers. And he's like, hello, and he just hears. And then clicks.
It's like a real life Garfield or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm reminded here during all of this that Hemingway famously said, "No animal has more liberty than the cat, but it buries the mess it makes. The cat is the best anarchist." So
yes, because it cleans up its own message. Yeah,
cats inherently are like, "Fuck the system. Call the cops, motherfucker. Call the cops."
Well, Miska was deemed vicious by Mueller in 2014. Mueller, again, is the head of the animal control services for that area. He was also Miska's neighbor.
Oh, what a completely unrelated coincidence.
Yeah, Miska was deemed
blocks
vicious,
away as a neighbor.
Yeah, vicious by Mueller in 2014 and ordered the cat to be euthanized or deported from King County.
Deported?
Deported from the county.
We don't want your kind around here, boy.
The cat killed or kicked out of the county.
Was the cat black? It was because the cat was black, wasn't it? We don't need their kind around here.
But Danelli fought the order in court in 2015 and kept Miska from being euthanized. In 2017, the lawsuit says employees from the county animal agency tried to organize neighbors to file complaints about Miska, so Danelli would receive more fines and violations.
Wait.
Neighbors then allegedly talked about shooting the cat.
So the government.
Hold on. Give me two paragraphs. The animal agency is also accused of giving a neighbor a dog trap who captured Miska. She was held in the animal control facility in Kent for months. Miska was eventually released, though the agency continued to issue violations against the cat and Danelli.
It's a cat.
It's a cat. It is an outdoor house cat.
It is what cat do.
It's a cat. Right, this is like I have a tree on my property and it grows big and it drops apples on the neighbor's yard and the neighbor cuts down my tree. That's literally what this is.
Dude, you know what's funny is like my tree in my backyard, my next door neighbor complains all the time. He's like, I have to rake for hours every fall to get rid of all those fucking leaves. And I don't even have a tree in my yard. It's your tree. And I'm like, dude, fucking cut it down. I don't care. Like, it ain't my tree. It's my landlord's tree. Fuck you.
Danelli then filed a lawsuit at the Pierce County Superior Court in 2019. Miska disappeared shortly after and has not been seen since.
What a mystery. I cannot possibly imagine what could have happened to Miska.
I have no idea what could happen to Miska. That's just a terrible coincidence.
Yeah.
The lawsuit states that the defendants made an unlawful decision by pursuing, quote, animal code enforcement proceedings before the office of the King County Hearing Examiner. The King County Hearing Examiner did not have the authority to make decisions on cases because of an outdated Bellevue City Code. That was by a judge's order on November 13th, 2020. As a result of the lawsuit, changes were made in the city code and how it handles the cases. Quote, there may be recourse for other citizens who have been impacted by the same or smaller incidences. From the start, we advocated for real change and transparency in government. Not every case has wins that are tangible or simple. So achieving something very meaningful for our client and the Bellevue community is rewarding. This is a quote from John Zimmerman, Dan Ellie's attorney. He said, quote, "This case exposed how government officials can use their influence and positions to take unjust and unreasonable actions against neighbors and other people in their personal lives." Yeah. We're talking about a cat.
Yeah.
They went so far as to talk about shooting her house cat.
Yeah, they were so upset by the fact. Like, keep in mind, we're not talking about the cat killing songbirds.
The government agency gave animal traps to neighbors to try and trap this cat, house cat. The government agency gave traps to the neighbors.
And encouraged people to file extra complaints, right? Like they went out of their way. Why did the government have such a vendetta against this cat? What did the cat have on Hillary Clinton? They had to go that far out of their way.
Seriously, aside from the $125,000 lawsuit win here, how much bullshit? How much taxes? How much taxes did they use just pursuing this cat for this long?
Oh yeah, they had $30,000 in fines against this woman, levied against this woman.
Yeah.
Over a cat wandering, which is what cats do.
Over a cat taunting and being a cat.
You know what this reminds me of is Herbert Hoover, right, founder of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, all around complete fucking waste of humanity. He hated his neighbor's cat and hated his local like raccoons, right? And was convinced that one of the two of them was knocking over his houseplants and things. So he tasked the FBI to create for him a horrible like guillotine trap thing to behead his local cat and or raccoon, and then his neighbor's cat was like cut in half on his front porch, and he had to like pay his neighbor to cover it up so that he didn't get in trouble for misappropriating FBI like stuff. So there's a very long history in government of you misappropriating an awful lot of shit.
Yeah, and we know from an ecological standpoint the effects that stray cats can have, on the environment, on the native species. Like that's something we've talked about before. But we're not talking about a pack of stray cats. We're not talking about a stray cat problem. We're talking about a house cat, one single cat. The government harassed this woman with $30,000 in fines, tried to euthanize or deport the cat, and went so far as to organize her neighbors against her.
Yeah. Went out of their way.
Because of a cat.
Over a cat. What did this cat have on Hillary Clinton? I want to know, because clearly the cat had something, because otherwise they wouldn't have gone this far.
Oh, and you absolutely know that cat.
I think the cat had the Epstein video surveillance tapes.
The cat probably had the original Hunter Biden laptop backups. So they had to get rid of it. It knows too much.
Oh god!
It was in a mouse USB hidden under its bed.
Yeah, it's just like...
I don't want to know what that password would be.
Can you imagine being in you're like in a fucking trench coat, like some journalist? Yeah, the password. Can you imagine you're meeting your source as this investigative journalist in some like parking garage, and then out of the shadows is just this cat. Meow.
Are you Deep Throat? Meow.
Meow. No, I wouldn't be deep throat. I'd be like hairball.
Cat goes. You bring the stuff. The reporter hands over an ounce of catnip.
Yeah, an ounce. The cat takes a claw, just
a little baggy
stuff. The act of this fucking cat's like an international terrorist. It's a goddamn house cat.
It's a cat.
Like these people, I mean, and you got to hand it to Miska. Miska was living rent free in their brains 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Miska derangement syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Jesus. Fucking really?
I want to know how much money they spent from 2014 to 2019 when Miska disappeared, got hoffed.
Yeah, that
like
was
5 years.
How much did they fucking spend?
5 years at like
5
in court,
years
at the city level, at the county level, organizing on those traps, on the court cost, taking
Man
reports,
hours, vehicle fuel hours, anything that's billable to the taxpayer.
Yeah,
how much did they spend in that 6 years?
Even just the file space on a government computer that's storing all of the information. I mean, for all we know, they were taking like fucking like long range surveillance photos of the fucking cat.
Telephoto lens.
Yeah, like I mean, what?
Doing stakeouts with local animal control stakeouts sitting in their truck.
Yeah.
Miska's on the move.
A cat comes over, they lay down real quick in the car and
writing down tuna on the write-off on the worksheet.
Sneaking into the house, planning a catnip.
Yeah, planning catnip and baggies.
taking catnip out of the police lockup. Out of evidence.
How many of those office boxes labeled Miska or in police evidence right now?
Yeah, there's like 8 boxes, like 8 file boxes, and it's just all this stuff. It's baggy. There's like whiskers in one bag. There's a
couple of toys in there, bell balls.
Yeah. Oh, going through her trash, collecting her cans of cat food.
Collecting the
litter bag?
The empty cans.
The litter bag.
The litter. Like collecting the chucked litter. Like,
DNA testing the litter to DNA testing the poop in the litter to see Mishka shitting anywhere else.
Yeah, they're looking at it through a microscope. I need you to analyze this for me. It's cat poop. Why am I? Just do it. It's important.
Paw prints on the neighbor's windshield.
Yeah,
they're writing off the cost of a car wash.
Tape and yeah, but I mean, like when we laugh at like, I mean, think about it though. Like this could be like a comedy. Like if you can imagine like a Park and Rec or like a Brooklyn Nine-Nine kind of thing, this could be a comedy. And then one guy's just obsessed with a cat, and that would be hilarious because it's so ridiculous. Except it actually happened. Like a single dude in law enforcement within this place, this town made it his mission to go after a cat. Like the cat was his arch nemesis.
All right, we have confirmation. Mishka is not black.
Oh
no,
she's mixed
brown
though.
Mixed.
Yeah, she's mixed though.
She's a pretty kitty.
She was a pretty cat. Yeah.
Yes, but
where is this town in this county?
This is Bellevue. Bellevue. It's a little north of Seattle. So, $30,000 in fines and more than 30 violations from the cat's alleged behavior.
Just absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Okay, so this article says issued violations for claims that Mishka trespassed, taunted other pets in the neighborhood, and committed other infractions. Mishka's neighbor claimed the cat has killed, quote, dozens of pets in the last 7 years, including ducks, chickens, and rabbits. As if they don't have other predators in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, are you kidding me? You're in the Pacific Northwest. Why would you assume that why would a cat bother going after a duck?
And in 2012, she apparently stalked a neighbor's dog.
Yes, the mortal fear that the dog experienced from a cat.
Yes,
slinking near.
Okay, so the city of Bellevue has 144,000 people. The county of King is 2.2 million people.
And they probably devoted $750,000 worth of taxpayer money to a single fucking house
and that
cat.
guy, that one enforcement guy, was 2 blocks away from this cat. 2 blocks. That's quite a distance to be going out of his way to enforce this bullshit, especially in a city of 144,000 people.
It's
in 2014, a quote confinement order was issued against Miska for her alleged crimes. The order was essentially equivalent to house arrest, requiring that the owner keep her in a fenced area, secured, quote, with a padlock to prevent accidental release. As if the cat can't,
all of a sudden the 007 song is going in my head, or Mission Impossible.
Mission
and
Impossible.
The cat like using his claw to unlock a fucking lock.
Dun, 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 dun.
Like the cat was charged with vicious marauding.
Vicious. That's a definition of being a cat. Is vicious marauding. Every cat aspires to be charged with vicious marauding.
vicious marauding.
If you know anything about cats, if you've ever interacted with house cats, like that is their dream. They all fantasize of themselves as being vicious marauders.
Holy shit! Okay, another quote from Zimmerman, who's her lawyer, Dinelli's lawyer. Quote: "The government is willing to spend incredible taxpayer resources to engage in this, to the point that they've actually assigned 4 prosecutors to the case."
Oh my god.
Oh my god. 4? Like it's fucking 4. OJ Simpson?
4.
Wow.
That article's on Northwest or mynorthwest.com.
And their salaries are probably like 6 figures a year easy.
Oh no, it's Washington, like Bellevue. Bellevue's in the richer areas. It's probably like 150. They love big government in that area.
That's the kind of thing they do for RICO cases. Okay? This is
4 prosecutors on the case.
The cat is a serial offender. Like,
and they still lost.
And
they still lost. Yeah.
You know what's really sad is I just uninstalled my Doink Doink. Damn it. I need to reinstall my Doink Doink for this. That's
just pretend you hear the Law and Order music.
Yeah, that's all I need is I just need my Doink Doink again. Give me back.
We're talking about a cat, right? A cat, right? Not a serial rapist, not a serial burglar, not someone cutting, catalytic converters, right? Not, people breaking into other people's homes, anything like that. Like this is a cat. It is a glorified house cat. They assigned 4 prosecutors to the case and spent 5 years trying to rid the community of this menace.
Yeah, I was just like, in the criminal justice system, cat offenses are considered the most heinous.
Vicious marauding. That's going to be the name of the episode.
Yeah, vicious marauding is considered the most heinous. There's a special team assembled for the pursuit of these feline offenders. They are the special cat unit.
Oh,
like it's a fucking cat.
Vicious marauding.
Vicious marauding. I wish somebody would charge me with vicious marauding. I would wear that like a fucking major badge. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I would just get a shirt printed with Vicious Marauder.
If Dave listens to this episode, we need a Vicious Marauder patch.
With like the world's most adorable like chibi cat. And just Vicious Marauder in like marshmallow font. Vicious Marauder.
I want it as a t-shirt.
Vicious Marauder, but the A is like a cat paw.
Like a super adorable chibi cat, you know what I mean? Like it's got to be with the huge eyes and just Vicious Marauder.
Vicious Marauder, yeah. Oh, that's not even the worst. That's not even the worst thing I read today, you guys. So I do always have a secret article, but we're going to wait on that one because
like that.
There you go.
Like just,
the Uwu cat. Yeah, the Uwu cat.
Yeah, immediately next.
Oh,
or just like there's I used to have a T-shirt that was like this, where it would just be like the vicious marauder cat, and then the cat going, "What? I'm just doing my cat thing." Yeah, viciously.
Viciously. So, where do you guys want to go? We don't want to do the hidden one yet because.
Well, I was gonna say Disney World, but
we don't have a Disney World.
No, we don't. No, he said, "Where do you want to go?" I'm like,
we're not pedo hunting.
No, but it would be so fun.
You want to climb? You want to go to England
the Princess's Tower, and well, as long as we're talking about pedos now, we might as well go to England.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quiet on that one. Okay, Bank of England duty bound to trigger recession to curb inflation.
Duty.
Yes. Britain's central bank policymakers are, quote, duty bound when they meet this week to push the UK into recession to cap rising inflation, a former Bank of England official has said. So,
duty bound.
They are, hold on.
Legally obligated
to push the UK into recession to cap rising Yeah, that should, little red flags and the little red siren should be going off in your head right now.
But are they though?
Well, I mean, they caused the inflation, and then they're going to cause the recession to cap the inflation.
Considering it's a bunch of fucking Anglos, I'm not particularly surprised.
What happened? Rising up to I think it was like the late 1920s, early 1930s. What was that one? You did a podcast about it.
Where you mean like when there was like this country that had this like rotating debt thing where its money was constantly being devalued horrendously, and like to the point where people were taking it on their lunch breaks in wheelbarrows in cash to go buy lunch.
Yes.
Before the inflation kept getting, there was what was the name of that country? It's something, I don't know, something about like, do you Chidland?
Yeah.
I don't know. Something about Ubers. I don't know. Named Ellie. I don't.
They made a funny car.
Yeah, they had this like black, like really round car that they were, that like their leader came up with.
Yeah, like it's like a people's car.
Yeah, people's car, I think.
Yeah. So, Adam Polson, who runs the Washington-based think tank, the Peterson Institute, said that while the Bank of England would not want workers to lose their jobs, they should hike interest rates now to squeeze out inflammatory pressures made worse by Brexit trade and immigration restrictions.
Oh, you don't want anybody losing their job, but we gotta have inflation. Teeth all like this.
Oh God, this entire article should be read just in that voice.
I don't know if I could actually do that voice more in a sentence.
Yeah. The Bank of England's Monetary Policy Committee met on Thursday and expected to raise interest rates by 0.25%. Taking the central bank's base rate to 1%, its highest level since early 2009. Inflation in March peaked at 7%, the highest level for 30 years. So inflation is at 7 officially, and their interest rates are 1.
Which means that you are earning interest on your money at a lower rate than what your money is devaluing.
Yes.
So, like, for instance, I just got a 4.95% raise.
A 5% raise in an economy with inflation over 8%.
Yep. That was helpful.
Yeah. Sorry. Official inflation at about 8%.
Yeah, real inflation in the United States is probably closer to 13%.
Yeah,
14%.
I think it's like 12.8, 12.7, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I love this line though. The Posen, who was a member of the MPC from 2009 to 2012, said the central bank needed to take more drastic action after Brexit reduced the UK's labor supply and limited the flexibility of the workforce. Yes. Refusing to be part of the EU has definitely been what's caused the problem.
Totally. It totally has nothing to do with the other 97 things that it's done.
It's
yeah. Without a U-turn by the government on trade restrictions and immigration policy, the BOE must shrink the economy.
They must shrink the economy. No, it's you see, the economy's too big. That's what's going on. Everybody's just got too much money, haven't they? They're all just making too many things, and it's just causing all sorts of problems. So if we could just make it very small, then it's much more manageable.
Oh God. Oh.
It's just
and that accent, it just makes so much sense. It's so good.
To 11.
I picture the South Park Prince Charles talking head.
Yeah.
The head comes apart like the Canadians.
My favorite meme of Anglos is definitely where it's a goblin shark with written in like a British accent. Like, it's definitely the greatest. Like, if you ever look up the side profile of a goblin shark, just think, it's probably a British person. You're right.
All right. So this is again Posen. He says, quote, the central bank has no choice but to cause a recession when a broad range of prices are raising at such a strong pace. It is duty bound to bring inflation down after more than a year when it has been at more than 2% above its 2% target level during a period of full employment. So what this is demand destruction. That's what they call it. And what they're doing is they're going to raise inflation to the point that people can no longer afford to purchase things that they want and are only forced to purchase things that they need. And that will help kill the demand for the things that they want, which will force the prices back down in those given areas, such as houses, cars, entertainment.
Meanwhile,
food.
Bernie Sanders is in the corner, and you can just kind of hear a...
Bernie's throwing rocks at windows.
Yes.
Bernie's throwing rocks at windows and signing military orders with the other hand, going, let's go to war. Let's go to war.
Yeah. Hey, Bernie, don't break your arm jerking yourself off that hard. All right. Fucking prick.
Yeah. But yeah,
like, this is the inevitable result of a centrally planned economy. Right.
Yes.
This is what happens when you have...
and for like, I mean, just for accuracy's sake, the BOE is in a worse position than the U.S. Federal Reserve. Right. So the Bank of England is in a worse position. So England's economy is in a worse position than the United States. Right. The United States is only about a year and a half behind Britain's economy. So we are heading in that direction. And you can see, like, for a perfect example is like Biden made a big deal about releasing oil from the U.S. strategic reserves. Right. We're releasing 1 million barrels a day. Right. We're going to help out gas prices. 85% of those 1 million barrels a day went to England.
Boy, that's going to help.
Yeah, only about like 150,000 barrels went onto the U.S. market when the U.S. burns about 18 million barrels a day.
Well, and keep in mind, I mean, this is not occurring in a vacuum, right? This is occurring with a world where Russia is cutting off the natural gas supplies.
The G7 just said, the G7 just came out and said, we're not taking Russian oil anymore.
Yeah, so no more Russian oil. They're trying to
economically isolate Russia,
which isn't on your dime.
On your dime.
That's not how that works. But like, so what's happening is Russia is cutting off its natural gas supplies to Europe. They're demanding that anyone who wants their oil is going to have to buy it in rubles. They're forging new alliances with China.
Rubles are gold, I think, is what it is.
Yep. They're starting to forge new alliances with China. China itself is doing a de facto embargo of the United States with its restrictions on export. That isn't a restriction. It's for COVID.
It's a COVID lockdown.
Yeah, they're doing all these things,
they got
right?
500 cargo ships in port.
Yeah, more than 500. If you look at the map of it, because you can track cargo ships live through apps that are available. Yeah. If you look at those and you start looking at everything that's going on, you realize very, very quickly what's really happening. And you can see it all, and just the 100,000 ships that can't ship things, and everything's shutting down. Nothing's coming to the United States. It's increasingly getting worse.
And don't forget, the U.S. is a net importer of goods. It's also a net importer of food. Only about 47% of the food consumed in the United States is grown in the United States. Right? So half the food the U.S. eats comes from other countries.
Well, and don't forget that one of the issues that the United Kingdom faced at the inception of World War II was that it was a net importer of everything. It was a net importer of manufactured goods. It was a net importer of food. Yep. It was a net importer of fuel. And that caused serious problems. Well, the United States was not. It was a net exporter of everything. So it didn't need the rest of the world in order to operate. It could do everything it wanted to do just fine, independent of the rest of the world. And what's happened in the 75 years since is that we have managed to turn ourselves into what England was at the beginning of World War II, which is not a good place to be.
No.
That's a very precarious position to find yourself in.
Yeah, and this is happening. So this like the start of this recession is kicking off at the same time as the avian flu thing, as the war. Ukraine's sitting on like 25 million bushels of grain, of wheat right now that they can't get out because of the ports. And then the U.S. with the avian flu thing has killed like 37 million poultry birds in the last few months.
And coincidentally, and a completely accidental thing is that like all of these major food processors in the United States are burning to the ground.
Oh, two planes flew into food processors in the last couple months.
I'm sure that's entirely coincidental in all honesty.
Totally coincidental. Absolutely, just completely coincidental.
Because that happens. I mean, that happens regularly in the United States. That planes accidentally crash into food producers. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we have. Okay, so we have
only food producers.
Right, so we have the food producers going down. There's only been like 22 of them. I know there's like 3,500. That's not the point. So 22. So food producers, raising gas prices, brink of World War III, runaway inflation, food shortages, the de facto shipping blockade to the United States from China. We also have China making whispers at Taiwan. There was a China flyover some jets of Taiwan the other day. Yeah, it's not a good picture. 2 + 2 = fucked.
Yeah, this is not going well. Like, if you're not stocking up on food, like non-perishable food right now, if you're not learning how to live, I mean, my favorite thing to do, like when I camp and stuff, is most of my camping gear is based on 18th century camping gear, right? 1700s for people who don't know. But 18th century camping gear. So I have hand forged cast iron stuff. I have, a lot of like duck canvas, tent stuff. That's what I do when I camp, is I try to do it as basic and as 18th century as I can, because within the 18th century you had outside supplies, but very limited outside supplies in North America. So especially on the frontier. And so that's what I do. If you're not learning how to do what I do, yeah, plenty of grass-fed vegans. Well, they say you are what you eat, and if that's true, vegans are just plants.
Cows are vegan.
Yeah, it's although if you are what you eat, cannibals are the only true humans. Think about it.
Yeah. But Jack jumped out of a plane today, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, I used to do that all the time.
Yeah, that tells you the mental stability of our listeners.
Yeah, it's hey man, I used to have pilots like laugh at me, like, why would you jump out of a perfectly good airplane? I'm like, you ever done it?
Once.
That's why you don't know.
It was once, and it's because she had nice tits and like other stuff.
You know how fun it is though? Like, dude, if you've never even seen like video of a halo jump, right? High altitude, low opening.
Yeah.
Halos. I did my very first halo. We went up before dawn, so it was just after dawn when we jumped. And so we got to watch the sun disappear behind the horizon and then come back up again. Because we were so high, you could see it above the horizon, and then you drop, and then the horizon comes up, and you can't see it anymore, and then it comes back up again. It was one of the coolest fucking things I have ever done in my life. It was so cool. I love halos. I only did like 4 of them, but I love halos. Hey-hos are interesting too, although very cold and very boring.
That's what he said. He said it was cold at 14,000. Oh, yeah, shocking! I know.
Yeah. Hey-hos are high altitude, high open, and the distance you can travel if you open your parachute high enough up is really ridiculous. So
was it like 27 miles or something like that?
It's a real long distance.
Yeah. Maybe it's 57 miles.
You can basically get dropped in friendly airspace and make your way a good distance into unfriendly airspace, and your radar cross section is so small that you might just be a technical glitch.
Yeah. So, it's good times. Anyway,
like, I love that stuff, man. I'm super jealous. I haven't done it in a few years. I'd love to do it again. I really miss jumping.
So the economy looks like you just jumped out of a plane, but it's on fire.
The plane is on fire. Your parachute is on fire. The ground is also on fire. You are on fire.
And the government is trying to kill you.
And you have a cup of coffee says this is fine.
Yeah, and the government is shooting at you with a 20 Mike. And
Mike. Thump, 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 thump.
Yeah, like that's basically what's happening. That's the explanation of the way the world's going right now.
In the distance.
Yeah, well, you can hear there's Stuka dive bombers coming at you with the Jericho siren going. That's the world right now. So
economic Pearl Harbor.
It's just we're so fucked. So if you're not prepping now, man, I mean, if the Bank of England is doing what it's doing, talking about like we have to destroy the economy to make it manageable.
Demand destruction. That's what they have to get to. They have to get to the point where people are choosing what is necessary over what the government considers frivolous. All right, that's why gas prices are still so high. Right, the government could have stepped in and removed those taxes at any point in time.
Oh, dude, in Wisconsin, we have mandatory minimum markups.
Yep.
on fuel. So they can't sell it too close to their cost. Even if they want to. There are a couple of gas stations have gotten in trouble recently because they were like, hey, we're going to do a day where we're going to offer all these discounts and all this stuff and, you know, and make it below that, you know, if you stack these discounts. And they like sold out of fuel by doing that and then got in a shit ton of trouble for doing it. Like they're a private business and they're getting in trouble with the government because they sold their items too cheap.
Not only that, but like if you look at the US, like you go to realtor.com and look at your area, you know, a 3-bedroom house, you know, 2-bath, you know, two-car garage, and you use the map, you'll see like dozens and dozens of brand new listings, and that's because of the increase here in the United States, right? People are already starting to be priced out, and we haven't even hit like even close to the peak of this.
Yeah.
You know,
if you want to see what's coming, there's actually a really good documentary, and I realize this is gonna like hit everybody. Like,
if you want to know,
but it's
look at the rise of World War II.
Well, yeah, but there's specifically my favorite documentary right now economically for what's going on and what you can see that teaches people really, really well about bubbles and inflation and everything. It's called The Tulip Bubble. And it's about the first economic bubble that ever happened. And
that was because of trade speculation.
Yep. And if you haven't seen it yet, you definitely need to watch the Tulip Bubble documentary. It's on Magellan. I think it's on Curiosity Stream. It's a couple other places, but yeah, the Tulip Bubble. Look it up, watch that, and you will understand how that happens. And not only will you understand how all of that happens, but it will prepare you to understand what's happening on a much larger scale in a very easy to understand way, because it was one thing. It's very basic, and so it's easy to understand what happened. Yeah, it's called the Tulip Bubble. So if you're not subscribing to Magellan, you're missing out. If you're not subscribing to Curiosity Stream, you're missing out, guys.
And this article goes into talk a lot about what the UK is doing and all that good stuff. I don't want to get into that because I stopped caring about them in 1776.
Yeah,
I did have to bring that up.
I stopped caring about in 1916. Well, 1926, really, if we're honest. But
yeah, they talk a bold game for people that start their own cars.
Yeah, it's start your own cars, do you? Every morning? Oh, no reason. It's
let's see,
purely academic.
Speaking of Brexiting, how about we do we'll move on to the Isle of Palms. See this one? The Palm Republic.
Yeah, so I have a passport from the Conch Republic. And if you don't have one yet, you should definitely get one. You can go right online.
I almost brought up another article about passport shopping. There's like 7 or 8 countries out there that will sell you passports.
If you can prove that you are within 2 generations of Ireland, you can get an Irish passport.
Nice.
So, like, a lot of people, maybe their grandparents could. They can't necessarily. I have both an American and an Irish passport. I have them both because my dad's Irish, and so I can have them both. I have both passports. If you have an Irish passport, there is almost nowhere that you are not allowed to travel.
You should adopt me.
Almost nowhere. You
should adopt me so I can get one.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've been to Iran. I've been to, a lot of places that Americans can't go. Traveling in Vietnam is very easy for me. It's, but the Conch Republic is in the Florida Keys.
Yeah.
And it issues its own passports. So you can
get
a Conch Republic passport.
So this is South Carolina, but it's some Isle of Palms residents are expected to declare independence from South Carolina as they look to form the Palm Republic.
Woo!
It stems from when a small group opposed Governor Henry McMaster's decision to close the beaches at the height of the coronavirus pandemic in 2020. The effort by former and current leaders of the Isle of Palms, including former Mayor Jimmy Carroll, said the decision to protect what they call illegal action by the state. This includes beach parking and other traffic-related issues by the South Carolina Department of Transportation. Quote, the Palm Republic will exist as a free and sovereign republic that reestablishes home rule, which was unilaterally and illegal stripped from the Isle of Palms upon the passage of S-40 in 2021. The Palm Republic is modeled after the Conch Republic among the Florida Keys.
Yeah, if there's anyone who is there who would enjoy someone that can help them organize and create their own home guard, I volunteer my services. I don't ask for much. Mostly moving assistance.
So what is home rule? That's what I really wanted to talk about.
So home rule is the same thing that Ireland had that was then taken away, that then was
Can I read the definition first?
Yeah.
Or after? Okay.
No.
Home rule transfers authority over municipal matters from state laws to a local charter that's drafted, adopted, and amended by the voters in the municipality. A home rule charter is essentially a local constitution. It sets up the government structure and outlines its authority and its limitations. Under home rule, a county or municipality can do anything not specifically denied by the state's constitution, the General Assembly, or by the charter itself. By contrast, municipalities ran by municipal codes, that i.e. state laws, can only act where specifically authorized by state law.
Yeah. So basically what it says is by default, you get to decide for yourself how you are going to run yourselves, unless we have something existing that specifically says you can't. That's home rule. It's the difference between the United States under the Constitution and the United States under the Articles of Confederation.
Yes. Which was fantastic. The Articles of Confederation allowed, local control of given things, and then the federal government was basically an umbrella. It wasn't like an active participant in local matters.
Yeah, exactly. And like that was how the United States was meant to be. And like and again, Ireland had this, that the whole home rule thing where it was, we get to decide how we're going to run ourselves and everything else. And okay, fine, you guys can dictate to us, the limits of our power and stuff with the charter, but ultimately we get to decide what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, as long as you haven't expressly forbid it. And then England changed that up, which is what generated the Rebellion of 16.
No. Fucking Jack.
Think of all the missed pillaging opportunities.
So, let's see. This is a quote from the organizers. It says, quote, this tongue-in-cheek protest will have no binding legal authority. The founding fathers and the mothers of the Palm Republic hope to highlight the tyrannical and unconstitutional actions taken by the state legislators, the Secretary of the Department of Transportation, and the governor stripping the Isle of Palms of its basic rights to govern itself. The patriots of the Palm Republic are fun-loving people and include humor and drink in dealing with very serious violations of their constitutional guaranteed right to govern our island.
See, but why does it have to be tongue-in-cheek? Why do you have to not be
that's my thing. It's like here in California when Orville, my kids were actually born in Orville Hospital up north. It's north of Sacramento. Orville declared itself a constitutional republic.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that was in response to Newsom's coronavirus orders, and it's completely unbinding in any way. But they said, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and screw these orders. And they still went with the orders. It was
ridiculous, but
yeah. No.
But yeah, I mean, like, why does that have to be a thing that is tongue in cheek? Why do you have to be not serious about it? Fucking be serious about it. It's not like it would be the first time in American history, the United States history, that places have decided No, fuck you. There's Jones, right?
Mm-hmm. The Free State of Jones.
Jones is one. Yeah, that there's a movie about that I actually still haven't seen, but there's a movie about it.
Pretty decent movie.
Okay. There's Jones. I mean, the Contrapublic itself is a little tongue in cheek, but at the same time, like the place that the Contrapublic claims really does kind of regard itself as independent of everybody else.
Yeah, it's so far out of the way that it doesn't have representation in the state house.
Well, they're the keys, right? So they're like we have a tiny population. We're just a little couple of islands where no one cares about us. No one really comes here. And if we decide we're not going to enforce one of your laws, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, that's the importance of localization, getting from the sheriffs, from the police that understand that. Yeah. We talked about before about having the federal government is limited and they need local participation. Right. Well, it's no different than the state. The state is limited in what it can do also, and it needs local participation. If local participation says "fuck you," no, like they have to draw federal or state resources from other places.
Right? Well, yeah, for sure. And it's remember that the only reason that the state can possibly function in the way that it does is because at local levels everybody is cooperating.
Yeah, it has top-down power, but it has bottom-up support.
Right, and if it loses all of that support, if everybody locally just goes, no, fuck you, I'm not doing that.
Fuck you, no.
Then it loses its power. We see that in real time. You can look around and you can see that with marijuana laws in the United States, where all these states and municipalities and things are just going, no, I don't care anymore. I'm not doing that.
Well, the city of Austin in Texas. Austin, there's an article about Austin wanting to decriminalize marijuana. Like the city of Austin is going to go, we're not going to enforce these marijuana laws. In Texas.
Oh, yeah. So Wisconsin has always been, it's a purple state, right? It's a swing state, just like Ohio, Iowa.
I saw a thing the other day that said Wisconsin has more rhinos in Africa.
That is definitely true. Unfortunately. But in the city of La Crosse, right? The city of La Crosse in Wisconsin has officially passed city ordinances that say, well, the possession of marijuana up to like an ounce and a half.
Yeah, it's an ounce in California.
Yeah, it's like an ounce or an ounce and a half is considered personal use. And it's a local ordinance violation, so it's a ticket, like a parking ticket, and it's a $1 ticket for having it. That's it. No required confiscation, none of that. It's just a $1 ticket.
Yeah, so like financially, it doesn't make sense for the police to enforce that.
Right. So they just ignore pot. It's the only time it becomes an issue is if you get caught for like let's say you're speeding, they pull you over and you have a bag of pot sitting on your passenger seat. If it's an ounce or less, they'll be like, oh, by the way, here's that other ticket for $1 for having that. And then let you leave. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't bother with it. And it's allowing them to then worry about more important things. The police actually here in town, they supported that when the city council started talking about doing it. They were like, yeah, please, for the love of God, give us another option because this is stupid. We have to waste so much time on a plant that this is dumb. But cities are starting to like it started out right with states kind of rebelling against it. And states started going, no, I'm going to say I don't care about your federal laws about pot, right? Like I don't care what's going on, what you want. I'm not enforcing it. And now it's gotten down to individual towns and cities are saying, I'm not going to do it. That's that idea.
There's a great Carl Hess quote about town halls having to succeed. I can't remember it off the bat of my head, but there's a great one. He wrote a couple of op-eds for like the New York Times about that also. But former Isle of Palms Mayor Jimmy Carroll would serve as, quote, His Highness The grand potentate of all that is salty, His Excellency, the Right Reverend. Carol says,
love it.
That's not even the best title. Hold on. Quote, this is all about our legislator overstepping their authority to pander for votes. In doing so, they have violated the state constitution and the rule of law. If this is allowed to stand, the door is wide open for state senators to do the same statewide. They will take away our constitutional rights to buy votes of small but outspoken radical groups. Behind closed doors, our politicians laugh at the Constitution and will do whatever it takes to stay in power.
Amen.
Okay. Blair Ham, the current city council member of the Isle of Palms, will serve as the Attorney General, also known as, quote, His Bodacious Highness, Admiral and Grand Ruler of all seas, less than 1 fathom.
Yes. Excellent.
Right? That is the best. That is
dude, I want that title.
Yeah.
Damn, like I'm a Lord Reverend.
Yeah. His Bodacious Highness, Admiral and Grand Ruler of all seas, less than 1 fathom.
Damn, I need to work on my titles. I
want that on a card.
Yeah. Like
I want that on a card. Like I want to be able to just hand that to somebody.
Yeah, and having those titles is actually really fun because like I have, again, I have like Lord Reverend or Reverend Lord. You can do either or. I'm not picky. But those are official like registered titles that I have. So I have a lot of fun when like I'm filing shit for like my taxes or anything else to make sure I specify those titles on them because I'm legally allowed to use them. So I throw them on there. So I will get communications from like the IRS and shit.
The next podcast we record, I want to see your entire name here.
But it's fucking great because like I will get stuff from the IRS that's the Lord Reverend, like or the Reverend Lord, and I'm just like, yeah, that's right. That's right.
So Admiral and Grand Ruler of all seas, less than 1 fathom, the Bodacious Highness, Blair Hahn says, quote, I cannot state strongly enough the gravity of the violations of our Constitution and the rule of law by the powers that be in Colombia. We are establishing the Palm Republic to stand up to politicians in Colombia and take back our constitutionally guaranteed rights.
Yeah, but you're doing it in kind of a half-ass way. Like, I admire that, but you're doing it in a half-ass. Like, if you're going to declare yourself the Palm Republic, do it. Which title makes me tax exempt? My flat-out refusal to pay or file taxes.
The signing of the Declaration of Independence for the Palm Republic will take place Friday, May 13th, on the back deck stage of the Windjammer, a location that has served as the Capitol building of the Palm Republic.
So they have a boat as their capital?
Let's see, on the backstage deck of the Windjammer. Yeah, so it sounds like it's a boat.
Nice. So they even have a mobile cap. Like, why are you not arming up and going, nope, we're independent. Fuck you, make me. Do it. I volunteer my services. I will come out. I will help you figure out how to organize a military and a full-on resistance. We will become a republic, an independent republic, and it will be glorious, sir. Glorious.
Oh, the Isle of Palms the Palm Republic has a Facebook page, which I am now following.
The Conch Republic, if you should want a passport, as I have from the Conch Republic, it is a very simple process to get one. There's a form that you have to fill out, and boom, you get one. 6 to 8 weeks for delivery. You have to pay $100, or if you want the both the passport and the party passport, it's $130. Party passport, in case anybody's wondering, gives you a bunch of discounts because you're a member of the Conch Republic, officially a citizen, on like services and goods. in the Conch Republic.
I just sent the link to Nikki, so maybe Liberty Doll will do a video on the Palm Republic.
It makes me want to go down there. Like, it makes me want to go down there, find them, and be like, hey, look, so I can bring a bunch of guns. Okay.
Yes.
And and I can train people. And like, if you guys want, like, I know people who are pretty good at naval warfare. So like, if you want me to call them,
they can give you what is the piece of paper? Make you a pirate.
A letter of marque.
A letter of marque
and reprisal.
Yes. I want a Palm Republic letter of marque.
The problem is I really don't like the water.
That's fine.
That's why I wasn't a SEAL. You weren't
a SEAL because you couldn't balance the ball on your nose.
No, like I went special forces because I don't really like I didn't want to be a SEAL, right? I don't like the water. I'm not a big fan of the water. Screw it. But
potatoes don't grow in water.
The irony is that even Ireland doesn't actually eat much in the way of seafood. Like, we're a fucking island, but we don't eat seafood. And everyone goes, what? And I'm like, seriously, we don't eat seafood. We're weird.
Seafood's a good fertilizer.
Eat mussels. I will inhale mussels. Like, I will decimate a local population of mussels single-handedly if there's enough butter and garlic for it. Happily. But I don't eat oysters. Like, conkers are okay. Like, I'm not a huge fan. But we don't really eat a lot of fish. We don't really eat a lot of seafood, even though we're an island. So I look at it as, you know what? I have no problem going to an island republic and assisting them in their independence, even though I don't like ships or being on the ocean or swimming all that much.
Do they?
I guess how is the fishing in Ireland? It's actually really good. It's just we don't eat it ourselves. We send it to everybody else.
Do they eat gummy ears in Ireland?
Gummy ears. No.
That should be a familiar looking ear.
Yeah, that I was gonna say, is this a Mike Tyson item?
Mike Tyson's ear-shaped gummies are banned by Colorado law.
What? Fucking Colorado! God damn it!
Dude, you send me the money. I will buy you a couple bags and send you.
Mike Tyson's ear-shaped weed gummies won't be coming to Colorado, but not for the lack of trying.
They're weed gummies. Never mind. I won't buy them for you. I can't buy them in Wisconsin. I gotta go across the river to Minnesota.
When the former heavyweight boxing champion's new THC-infused edibles, which are shaped like ears with a morsel taken out of the top, hit social media last month, we thought they were too good to be true. But Tyson's commercial marijuana brand, Tyson 2.0, confirmed that the infused gummy ears are real and are currently sold in California.
I am a huge Mike Tyson fan.
An homage to Tyson biting flesh off of Evander Holyfield's ear during a 1997 title bout. Mike Bites will be moving into more states this year as well, according to Tyson 2.0. But in Colorado, they need to do some shape-shifting. Yes, Mike Bites.
Can you just make them a different color? Like, wouldn't that meet the legal requirements?
No. Hold on. A 2016 state law prohibits marijuana edibles from being shaped like humans, animals, fruit, or other objects that could attract children, according to the Colorado Marijuana Enforcement Division.
If you have a bunch of children who look at ears and go, I want to eat that, Daddy. Like, you don't live in Colorado. You probably live around a nuclear testing site in Nevada.
And according to the Colorado Marijuana Enforcement Division, Holyfield's chomped ear is just too damn attractive. The vegan ear-shaped edibles are, quote, directly applicable to the law banning human body part shapes, according to the MED Communications Director, Shannon Gray. Because of the law, Mike Bites will be manufactured in the shape of a T in Colorado, according to Tyson 2.0.
Lame.
The gummies
So
are
lame.
expected to be in Colorado recreational dispensaries before the end of the summer.
I really have to ask. Jack mentioned, he said, your kids are Hoosiers.
Hold on.
Fuck is that? What's a Hoosier? I don't know.
Holyfield isn't receiving a chunk of the profits from Mike
Tyson. Oh no, I fucking, man, I love Mike Tyson. Like, I love Mike Tyson because that guy is aware of like the meme status that he has.
Mm-hmm.
He not only is doing this, it voices himself in the Mike Tyson Adventures animated series on Adult Swim.
Again, another look at the Mike Bite ear gummies with the chunk missing.
They're actually a really well molded ear. I'm
really
kind of surprised. Yeah, they look like an ear. Like the folds in a human ear are unique to every person. And what's interesting is that they actually help you figure out the direction from which sounds are coming. If you get like a piece that is molded that you can put on both ears that are different than what your ear shape is, it actually renders you unable to figure out what direction sounds are coming from for between 12 and 24 hours. Your brain has to adapt. Your brain can adapt, but your brain has to adapt to that. Any change, so like a scar, anything to your ear and its shape will actually alter your ability to tell where sounds are coming from.
I have no idea what's happening in the chat right now.
I don't either. Hoosiers, people, or whose ear, according to some old legends. What? I don't understand. It's my Hoosier kid just said he'd eat them. What is a fucking Hoosier? What does that word mean?
Maybe we need some ear gummies to understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I apparently need some ear weed gummies from Mike Tyson.
So
I would happily accept those. I'm not even super into weed, man, but if somebody wants to send me some weed ear gummies,
serious question. Does NASA have your nudes?
I mean, I hope so.
NASA is going to launch naked pictures of humans into space in hope of, quote, attracting aliens.
Oh, see, if they use mine, they will be repelling aliens. They'll be like, what is that? And then just
NASA scientists plan to launch pictures of naked humans into space in the hope of luring aliens to us. The depictions will also include an invitation to respond should an intelligence alien race find the space nudes.
If an alien race comes to Earth because they saw our nudes, they are not intelligent.
Unfortunately, the hypothetical alien shouldn't be too shocked by the unsolicited nudes. The pictures aren't graphic photographs of naked humans, but a drawing of a naked man and a woman next to a depiction of DNA. The man and woman are waving in an attempt to look more inviting. NASA scientists revealed the images in a study that's part of the project called, quote, Beacon in the Galaxy. The main aim of the Beacon in the Galaxy project is to send a message to any alien civilization that could be out there. Yeah, they're trying to get us invaded and killed. And I'm not okay with that. I'm not exactly okay with that.
They're you know what they're doing is they're trying to get us probed, and
as if we haven't been probed enough.
Again, like I said the other day, where I'm like, it's aliens got to be looking at each other and be like, we've been coming here for 70 years, and all we've managed to figure out with all this probing is that 13% of the population doesn't seem to mind it.
I'm not gonna go there.
I'm trying to figure out. So like what we're getting in the chat for the explanation of Hoosier, it's just like it's somebody from Indiana. No, I fucking know it's somebody from Indiana. My question is, why? What does the fucking word mean? No one seems to fucking know, and no one can ever tell me.
Let's see.
Tar Heels, right? I lived in North Carolina for a long time. And in North Carolina, everyone knows why you're called a Tar Heel.
Hoosier is the official demonym of the people of the U.S. state of Indiana. The origin of the term remains a matter of debate, but Hoosier was in general use by the 1840s, having been popularized by Richmond resident John Finley's 1883 poem, The Hoosier's Nest. Okay, that doesn't help anything because you don't know what a fucking Hoosier is.
I still don't know what the word Hoosier means.
If you know what the name of the
Hoosier bother
means,
you? Like, what is a Hoosier? I have had Hoosier tires. I understand that it's the Hoosiers, and that's the thing is like there's a film, right, starring Kevin Kline, one of my absolute favorite actors of all time, called In and Out. Everybody should watch it. It's fucking great. Absolutely fabulous. But in it, there's a guy who like 3 times goes to make this speech where he's like, Hoosiers, what is a Hoosier? And it cuts him off every single time in the film at that point. What is a Hoosier? What is it? Other than a tire?
Oh no, it's a flyover term, and from a flyover state.
It means a horrible, horrible state that contains really fucking boring people.
Corn.
I don't know.
Corn. All right. Let's move on.
Corn, maybe Indianapolis. It's like, oh, these are people who live relatively close to Indianapolis. That's apparently what Hoosier means. I don't know why.
Right, let's get through this article fast and then get on to the next one. Crypto 6, R.A. Damasio, Ian Freeman, those other people up in New Hampshire, they were arrested for laundering Bitcoin.
I am such a huge fan of Aria. Like, she's just fucking amazing. Everything that she did. Anybody who hasn't been listening to the show for a while, Aria Damasio, she is trans and a Satanist and an anarchist. And she managed to get the Republican nomination for sheriff with her tagline being ACAB FTP. So she's fucking fantastic. When people confronted her from the Republican Party, she said, well, it's your fault. You didn't pay attention to what I was actually saying or who I was. You just saw the R before my name. Yep. She didn't win, but that's a disappointing thing.
It was still great.
She made like the Independent and the Daily Mail and the Boston Globe and Washington Post and did interviews with news organizations in Australia and Europe and just all over the place. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. There's also Nobody is another one of the Crypto 6. I think we all know Nobody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rich Paul.
Every one of us has been friends.
Formerly Rich Paul.
Yeah, we all know Nobody.
So, but more charges filed against Ian Freeman and Aria Damasio in the Bitcoin case. Federal grand jury returned new charges Monday against keen libertarian activist Ian Freeman and Aria Damasio for allegedly operating an illegal Bitcoin business. The new charges come a little more than a year after the FBI arrested Freeman and Damasio, as well as 4 other New Hampshire residents, in connection with a virtual currency exchange operation prosecutors say handled more than $10 million in transactions over several years. On the day they were arrested, March 2021, the FBI conducted several searches in Keene, including properties linked to Free Keene, a libertarian activist group with ties to some of the defendants. Like the FBI has a Free Keene file. Just put that out there.
Yeah, if you are part of an activist group and you are under the impression that the FBI doesn't have a file on you, I assure you,
yes,
they do.
Earlier this month, 3 of the 6 co-defendants, that's Renee and Andrew Spinella, both of Deary, and a Keene resident who legally changed his name from Rich Paul to Nobody, each pleaded guilty to a single charge of wire fraud. The government on Tuesday dismissed charges against Colleen Fodham of Alstead. So Renee and her husband and Nobody, they pled guilty and to a single charge of wire fraud. And then charges were dropped against someone else. Whereas Freeman previously faced 11 charges, he now faces 25. And Damasio, who previously faced 2 charges, now faces 9.
So this is the definition, right? This is the definition of malicious prosecution. They are stacking charges in response to their refusal to simply acquiesce to threats.
Yes.
Yep.
The superseding indictment, which overrides the previous indictment, but relleges many of the same charges, filed in the U.S. District Court in Concord, changes Freeman with conspiracy to operate an unlicensed money transmitting business, operating an unlicensed money transmitting business, conspiracy to commit wire and bank fraud, 12 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of money laundering, conspiracy to commit money laundering, 4 counts of attempt to evade taxes, and continuing financial crime enterprise. This is all because he didn't have a permit to operate a Bitcoin ATM.
Yeah, all because they didn't pay the government fucking blood money to become a money changer of money that the government doesn't have power over, which is what pisses them off.
Yeah, the indictment charges DiMaggio with conspiracy to operate an unlicensed money transmitting business, as well as operating an unlicensed money transmitting business, 4 counts of wire fraud, and 3 counts of money laundering because she didn't have permits. Freeman, who is known for his libertarian activism and the radio program Free Talk Live, and DiMaggio have both pled not guilty to previous charges. Both said Wednesday that they plan to plead not guilty to the new charges as well.
Well, quote, that needs to be mentioned, like, and really highlighted, is the fact that Ian runs Free Talk Live, right?
Well,
a nationally
technically the Shire Free Church runs Free Talk Live. The Shire Free Church owns the property, owns the radio station, all that good stuff.
Right. But
Ian is just the
voice.
The voice, yeah.
Yeah, but he's been on it. Like we all know him. We've all been friends with him for a while, right? Like we've all interacted with him for years.
Mm-hmm.
But all he's doing is doing a radio show, right? It's nationally syndicated. So it's on a ton of radio stations.
It's internationally syndicated.
Is it international? I think I heard like 214 radio stations last time I heard.
They have a satellite radio over Africa.
Nice. So that really, at the end of the day, I guarantee you, is actually what caused the problems.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's what they're doing. They're going after them as an example.
Right, because he's so visible. He's been so noticed. So many people have heard him and heard his message and heard Aria because of Aria's thing.
Not only that, the whole they push the Free State Project. They push, limited government control. They push freedom. And they do back some candidates, at the state level, localism, New Hampshire secession, the Nexit movement. So,
yeah, they're because they're so prominent, because they're so vocal, because everybody knows who they are and is familiar with it. They felt like they needed to act. They needed to do something about these people who dared to openly and publicly question federal government authority. It has nothing to do with what they were doing was so wrong or anything else. It has everything to do with the fact that they were openly going, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. And the federal government felt the need to respond as a direct result.
A good point. There's a good point by Jack. Right. The cost of not using them as an example was too high for the powers that be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, amen. That's what it is. It's but if they don't do something, then everybody else is going to be emboldened by their example.
Yep. Ian says, quote, "We're not surprised. We knew that prosecutors were threatening more charges if we didn't take the plea offers. This is how government tends to do things. They intimidate people, they threaten people." He said the government had offered to drop the charge of continuing financial crime enterprise, which carries a minimum 10-year sentence if he pled guilty to other charges. And then Aria says, quote, "Prosecutors made it pretty clear that the options that people had were to take a plea deal or face additional charges." So,
yeah, it's acquiesce to our demands, bow before us. We can't force you. We can't throw you in prison to make an example of you openly because of the way the Constitution is written, but we're going to do it very quietly and find our ways around it because tyrants will figure out a fucking way to be tyrants regardless of a piece of paper that says they can't be. And this is why the Second Amendment is so fucking important, because it stops tyrants from being able to be openly
here's one for you. Assistant U.S. Attorney Georgina L. McDonald has previously alleged that, quote, hordes of cyber criminals bought virtual currency from Freeman in an effort to avoid detection by banks and government regulators.
Cyber criminals?
The government also claimed in court documents that Freeman allowed an undercover agent to exchange around $20,000 in cash for Bitcoin after the agent told him he was dealing drugs.
And
like,
what? So? That's not. You have to. So I'm in the financial industry, right? Like I deal with a shit ton of money. I have to deal with a lot of that stuff. You have to reasonably believe that the money that you are being given.
The superseding indictment alleges Freeman and DiMaggio advertised virtual currency for sale online through the website localbitcoins.com and operated virtual currency ATMs or kiosks in New Hampshire. What?
So if you're offering a virtual currency ATM, what people do with that, you can't control. Right, that isn't up to you. But the thing is what they're trying to do is they're trying to claim that because they didn't ask enough questions, they weren't doing things. Not endorsed by the U.S. government. They weren't doing enough questioning. They weren't trying to be the secret police on behalf of the United States government. That is what pisses the government off.
Okay.
That's one of the things. If you get into the financial industry, you realize is RICO and a bunch of AMA, right? AML, rather, anti-money laundering laws. Their purpose, really, at its core, is to turn people who are in the financial industry into the secret police de facto for the federal government. That's what it is. It's so that they can be like, well, we don't have secret police. Well, we don't have people monitoring every financial transaction. We're not tyrants.
Yeah,
except that the law turns everybody involved in that into their secret police.
Continuing financial crime enterprise. That's one of the ones that they're charging Ian with. That's the same one that they charge Ross with. That's the kingpin charge, right? Being the head of a federal crime enterprise.
Because RICO.
Yeah, and that's what they use to give Ross a double life sentence plus 40 years. So, yeah, it's a little scary, and I don't like it at all.
It's the same. I mean, yeah, it's the same shit that they do over and over and over. I mean, until you've been involved in the financial industry and you've seen the back side of that, you don't understand just what I mean. Like, they turn your bankers, your money lenders, they turn everybody involved in the financial industry into secret police by instituting penalties for failure to report all of this stuff. And that's what happens, is so they can go, well, we're not creating a secret police. We're not a secret police. We don't have access to any of this, except that you very quietly instituted a bunch of penalties for people to not report things to you. You forced everyone to become an informer under the penalty of law. That's what you did. That still makes you a fucking tyrant.
Yeah, it's all tyrant. Let's see, we got about 15 minutes. Let's jump into this last one. Your favorite group, the Oathkeepers.
Oh, Jesus fucking, you bunch of fucking...
Hold on. Militia group leader tried to ask Trump to authorize them to stop the transfer of power.
If you need some fat orange fucks to intervene in something you think is correct, ignoring whether or not it's correct, right? I'm ignoring all that. If you need somebody else's okay to do that, you aren't a rebel. You're still a slave. You're just a slave for someone else.
Stuart Rhodes, the Oathkeepers militia group leader, charged with seditious conspiracy over the January 6th attack on the Capitol, asked an intermediary to get Donald Trump to allow his group to forcefully stop the transfer of power, the Justice Department has alleged in court papers. The previously unknown phone call with the unidentified individual appears to indict the Oathkeepers had contacts with at least one person close enough to Trump that Rhodes believed the individual would be a good person to consult with his requests. Once the Oathkeepers finished storming the Capitol, Rhodes gathered the Oathkeepers leadership at about 5 p.m. and walked down a few blocks to Phoenix Park Hotel in Washington. The Justice Department said on Wednesday in a statement of offense against Oathkeepers member William Wilson. The group then huddled in a private suite, the Justice Department said, where Rhodes called an unidentified person on speakerphone and pressed the person to get Trump to authorize them to stop the transfer of power after the Capitol attack had failed to do so. Quote, okay, this is from the document. Quote, Wilson heard Rhodes repeatedly implore the individual to tell President Trump to call upon groups like the Oathkeepers to forcefully oppose the transfer of power. This individual denied Rhodes' request to speak directly with President Trump.
Well,
go ahead.
This whole thing makes me laugh so hard because, again, you need someone to tell you it's okay. Like if you hold,
if you are a keeper of your oath to defend XYZ against ABCD.
You don't need anyone to fucking authorize you to do that. You fucking do it, right? Like, you don't need... And I'm not talking about whether or not I agree with them. I think they're fucking nutcases. I can't stand
Oathkeepers
because I think they are the fuddest, most disingenuous, fucking pro-government, willing to give up
Oathkeepers are as bad as the Proud Boys, without a doubt in my mind.
The Oathkeepers are if the NRA and the Proud Boys had gay sex that somehow produced a poop baby, that would be the Oathkeepers right there.
That's not wrong.
That's what they are, right? And they don't represent any freedom. They don't represent rights. They don't represent people who actually care about going, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me, right? They don't represent real anti-government movements. What they are is, I'm all for rebellion as long as it's legal. Like, but have you tried voting first? Like, these are the people who believe this shit, who think that it's okay to rebel as long as you're doing it with the okay of the government. That's what they are. They're controlled opposition.
They're lorries at this point.
Yeah, they're absolutely controlled opposition.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to be manipulated by law, by they as soon as a law sort of
the red
aligns.
Coats. The red coats. That's what they want to be, as red coats.
They're, and I hate to say, but they're the people who are the majority, right? The majority at the birth of the American Revolution. The vast majority of people were like, well, I don't like this. I don't support this, but it's the law. And they're like, well, but what if we just, resist the law a little bit?
Yeah.
What if we petition King George? What if we just kind of push a little bit?
The Tea Party, or the Boston Tea Party, was not Oathkeepers. Putting that out there.
Yeah, the Oathkeepers would have been offended by the Boston Tea Party. You see Oathkeepers all the time talk about guys like us, right? As people that are, they're rebellious, fucking seditious traitors, and we get that shit all the fucking time.
Rebellious, seditious traitor. That would be a good patch too.
Yeah, and that's I've been called that. Quote, rebellious, seditious traitor.
I've been called that by right wingers also.
Yeah, I was called that about 6 months ago by somebody who was wearing a 3% patch.
It's a mostly peaceful Tea Party. There you go.
Yeah. I was called that by somebody who is wearing a 3%er patch. If you are wearing a patch that references the fact that 3% of colonial America in this late 18th century supported rebellion against the crown, if you're wearing a patch that references that, and your response is essentially, I'm for rebellion as long as it's done legally, rip that fucking patch off of you, you lying sack of shit.
Yeah. Andrew's kind of torn on whether he supports the Oathkeepers or not.
Yeah, clearly I'm in a debate about whether or not. The concept of, when I joined the military, right? When I joined the American military, I swore an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And the reason why the Oathkeepers disgust me is because I actually take that oath seriously. They do not.
That's the thing is with them and with that group I used to train with. The term domestic to them means not our party. Right? That's their version of it. It's not our guys, not our party.
And who's done more work against the Second Amendment? Who's done more work against the First Amendment? Who's done
the
more
fucking
work
NRA is still considered a right-wing organization.
Right, they are. And think about it, right? There's a reason why I have a chicken logo for the NRA that I post constantly, where it says negotiating rights away.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing, right?
Oh.
They have continuously gone out of their way to appease government. They've gone continuously out of their way to sacrifice American rights. This is what they do. Yep. This is what the NRA does, right? They go, well, I'm all for gun rights as long as government's okay with it.
Didn't they champion red flag laws?
They championed red flag laws. They championed the bump stock move from Trump.
The 86, the full auto, or not the full auto ban, the sportsman clause or whatever it is.
Yeah, they championed the NFA. They championed the GCA. They championed the Hughes Amendment, essentially. They championed Reagan. They are consistently actually anti-gun. So And remember, the NRA wasn't founded to be a pro-gun organization, right? The NRA was founded to promote civilian marksmanship training and weapons training in the event that militias had to get called up again, like in World War I and in the Civil War. This was the purpose of the NRA, was to keep people ready, because the United States was never meant to have a standing army.
Yeah. Oh.
That was their purpose. So, and they've stayed true to that, right? They stayed true to that.
Yeah.
They don't care about your gun rights or anything else unless you're part of the military, and that's what they were founded for. And people seem to continuously misunderstand the purpose of the NRA. And I love that anti-gunners view the NRA as their principal enemy. It makes me laugh so fucking hard, because it's like, but they're on your side.
Yeah.
They're not on anyone else's side. Like, go ahead, attack them, direct all of your attention to them. Well, the FPC and the GOA.
Oh my God, the NRA might get disbanded by the judge in New York. And
yeah, it's why I created the meme with the surrender or let go, or I kill the man. Kill him. He's not our man.
Yeah. No.
But
NRA, I will say, Brandenburg v. Ohio, I will say that the fact, if it happened like this, if it happened, like they say, I'm not, conspiracies aside, steroids past aside, him being a federal informant aside, allegedly a federal informant, the fact that somebody has openly asked, do you want us to stop this transfer of power? That people have gotten to that point mentally, I consider to be a good sign. That is a new level of radicalization for the normies.
It is too. It's definitely a level of radicalization that did not did not exist. It did not exist in 2012.
Yeah,
it would have been unimaginable 10 years ago.
Yep.
Unimaginable.
When Obama's second term, people were, prepping and running for the hills and talking about Civil War, but nothing like that existed, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, they didn't even come close. They weren't like, we will openly, it wasn't one of those things where like it was we will openly interfere with power in America. That's a very new thing. And the fact that even state worshipers are getting to that point where they're starting
it's a very we talked about the Battle of Athens last year with the Bois on. Like the precursor running up to that is similar to the situation we have now, and I believe that the mentality leading up to that is similar to the mentality that we're starting to see. The extreme polarization, the normie people are starting to get desperate. The normie people are starting to see the edges, starting to see the fringe of what's going on, and the normie people are starting to get a little spicy.
Yeah, it's the shift of power, and to where people are starting to remember.
I think
power actually sits with them.
Yeah, I think it's a Samuel Adams quote. I think it was Samuel Adams said, "The revolution was infected or affected before the first shot was ever fired. It was a change in the mentality and of the people's duties." Something along those lines. That's a terrible paraphrasing, but I believe that's a Samuel Adams quote. And it's people's mentalities are starting to change.
Yeah, they're starting
long enough.
Yeah, they're starting to finally notice, like, hey, wait a minute, all the power resides with us.
And by God, dude, if we get Trump and Biden in 2024,
oh my God.
what is it? Something like 90% of surveyed people have said they will vote for a third party if the choices are Trump and Biden in 2024.
Yeah, Trump, Biden, or Dave Smith.
At that point,
that would be a fun. Now that would be a fantastic debate stage. I'm just gonna put that out there.
It'd be hilarious. You know what? If the Libertarian Party actually wanted to win, and I think they're scared of winning, which is why they don't do this.
The Libertarian Party is allergic to power.
If they wanted to win, they would put Spike as their presidential candidate.
Yes.
And because the Republicans have left the debate organization, they can get him on stage. And I think that at that point they get Spike on stage, and all of a sudden things get real interesting.
Tasha's husband is good people. He'd have a lot of fun on that debate stage.
Yeah. Can you imagine Trump, Biden, and Spike? And and how much he would destroy them.
That would be a lot. That would be fun to watch.
He'd still lose because it's not like they're actually going to let voting matter.
No,
but it would be
be entertaining as hell
to watch.
All right, let's throw some plugs in and get out of here.
Josh, you start. You have fewer than I do, if you have any.
Josh has plugs now?
Since when did I have plugs?
Oh, am I the only one with plugs? I'm the only one.
No,
with plugs.
Chris has a plug. Some coffee thingy. It's in our description.
Okay, so first of all, if you want to go back and you want to listen to our episode on the Battle of Athens, that is episode number 145. If you're recently joining, go back, listen to that one. You'll understand the Battle of Athens.
That was with Magnus, Trashman, and Oldman.
Yes,
the Igloo Boys.
Yes, they're fucking fantastic dudes. They're super solid, and you should probably listen to it. If you want to hear me talk about the Weimar Republic and the massive impending hyperinflation and the destruction that we're looking to look at soon, as well as the rise of fascist powers and how that happens, check out episode 98, I believe, of the Statist Quo. And
listen to it again, by the way.
Awesome. Yeah, it's super detailed.
Does it make you want to buy cases of food and squirrel them away?
I have been.
Yeah. Yeah, it will. It will make you go, oh God, and start stocking up on ammo and food. There's that. I was on Magnus's show for the End the Damn Wars, where I go into what I did once upon a time and stuff. And if you want to learn about that, check that one out. If you want to care for your beard like a Viking, like I do, where it's nice and it's healthy, it's shiny, it's soft, it's wonderful, it smells great, check out thebeardstruggle.com. Use code InkedAnarchist15. You get 15% off of your entire order, which is absolutely worth it because they have fabulous scents. I personally recommend Odin's Virtue. It's an apple cinnamon oud wood combination. It smells great, but they have their new platinum scents in addition to their silver and gold. They have a super cool beard straightener that'll keep your beard nice and organized and fantastic. Check them out. Again, thebeardstruggle.com, InkedAnarchist15. Make sure that you check out our boy Boog Boogie 79 on Twitter, who does all of the state flags as Boog flags. He does the Boog Unity flag. I have both a Wisconsin and a Boog Unity flag from him. Make sure you check out Derica's book, Think for Yourself, Thinking Workbook for Beginners, that is on Amazon. It's like $10.99 or something. It's not terribly expensive, and it helps everybody figure out how to think for themselves. Definitely something to use if you homeschool your kids, or even if you don't. We are, in fact, a affiliate of RK Spookware. So if you 3D print your shooty boys, right? And there's some really cool designs out there now. Everything else, it's been in mass media. In fact, InRange just did a video on it and stuff. If you're into that, check out RK Spookware. We're a affiliate of them. You can get lots of stuff that you need to complete your builds from RK Spookware. And by using the affiliate link in the description, you get to support us. Check us out on Odyssey. Check us out on Rumble. All sorts of alternative media, because fuck the media giants that want to shoehorn us. Is there anything else?
No. Can we end this now?
David Poppins Patches.
Yes, Poppins Patches. Check out Poppins Patches. Dave's got some cool shit. He does the tricorn hat that Josh is wearing. He does all sorts of cool patches I've given away before. He does very high quality stuff, and they're very cool. He does lots of 90s cartoon references and stuff that you want to check out.
I'm gonna piss my pants, Andrew.
All right, I think we got everything. You guys, we love you. Listen to us, share us with your friends.
Drunk Andrew is the best Andrew. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yes.
Peace.
I'm not